Alright, let's complain about the new so-called fog of war feature that's been added. This feature was added in the beta 1.1.0 and has now been moved to the stable 1.1.0 and also the new 1.1.1 version, which is basically just a hotfix. Technically, what it is described as by Tailworlds in their update is implemented a fog of war feature for heroes. So they do say that it is just for heroes. So they're not completely lying and saying that it's a real fog of war. It does say it's just for heroes. However, it isn't only heroes, it also blocks out the fief information for fiefs that you're not close to. So it does a little more than that. It may be that wasn't considered part of this update, but that also has occurred in recent versions. You used to be able to just mouse over anything on the map and see its stats, how many troops are inside, its loyalty, etc, etc. Now you have to actually be in proximity to know. The problem is the AI still cheats and knows all of this information all the time anyways, and you don't. So that's kind of lame, but in general, I'm okay with not knowing the stats of the towns. For instance, if we take a look at this situation here, it makes sense that I don't just magically know what all these towns have, even though these are allies. But at the same time, it's kind of lame that the AI just automatically knows what we put in here after we siege these castles, so they knew without having to send any small parties to come scouting or anything. They just knew that they could come take them back with whatever they had, which the fact that they have enough to keep taking these back, like they've taken them back like 3 times already. The fact that they can keep doing that, that's a separate issue. There's some problem going on with the defeated factions just having too much material and being able to too easily take stuff back, and also our own vassals being very docile about defending it. That surprised me compared to the previous versions. But just the fact that they know they don't have to go out of their way to try to figure this out like we do, that's a problem too. I mean, to be fair, I'm not super concerned with how big enemy fiefs are either. I just go to the nearest one. But if I were, it's just kind of lame. Like they shouldn't know either if we don't know. They should have to just decide based on proximity, which you might have a similar outcome in this situation because they don't have any fief. If they're gonna obscure the information for the player, they need to make sure the AI doesn't automatically have that information either. That would be a good improvement. And the other thing, I'm a little annoyed that they even use the term fog of war though when they describe this update, and it annoys me that I have to keep reading people saying it over and over again too when they complain about it. Because to me, a fog of war should be about the war parties, not information in an encyclopedia. Which, that doesn't make any sense either. If it's an encyclopedia, that means it would be information that's already available, not a journal that you're filling out as you go, which is, I guess, what they're having it be more like now. To me, a fog of war should be parties like this, enemy parties. You should just see like a generic party on the map. Like there's someone there, you don't know who it is yet, and when you get closer, like right before you get into like the commitment area where you're probably gonna have to encounter them, then you can see if it's an enemy and what faction it is. And then if you get even closer, like maybe when you're actually gonna attack them, then you get this information here revealed. But we're getting it way ahead of time, so it's like we're never in any danger of running into the enemy accidentally. I mean, well, it will happen occasionally just from negligence, from not paying attention. And we know exactly what they have. Like if they're gonna call anything a fog of war, they should actually obscure what these parties are on the map. And also hide the information on the enemy lords in the encyclopedia, which they don't. You can just look in the encyclopedia and see where these people were last seen if you wanted to know. So that's another weird thing. It's very odd to me that they went through the trouble of obscuring other information, but not the last location of your enemies. And just show you like what I'm talking about here. We can go look at our enemies here, people we're actually at war with. We can just click into the encyclopedia here. We can go look through all of their clans if we want to. Like by doing this, like these are people we don't know. These are people we've met. It shouldn't matter, I think, in my opinion, even if you've met them, they should obscure the information when you're at war with them. Because we can just go through here and we can easily ascertain where they are, just even on the other side of the world, just by seeing like where all these people have last been. If we notice a bunch of them have been last seen in one area, we can kind of guess where their armies are going. Not that we couldn't guess anyways, because they're gonna just go take whatever's easiest for them to get. And the point, if they're gonna add any obscuring of information, this would be the first thing to do. Is like, you don't know where your enemies are anymore. You don't know what they have in their parties anymore. We still know both those things, so why does it matter that we don't know somebody's age for marriage proposals, and we don't know somebody's stats for wanderers? We're going to look at that in a second here. So, like, we look at this wanderer here in the encyclopedia. We haven't met them. It won't tell us their skills. Now, from playing the game before, I'm going to say he probably has 60 to 80 medicine because he has healer in his name. And I have noticed in this version there are some different types of wanderers that weren't in the game before. So even if you have played before, this could sneak one in on you where you might not know what something is. It does tell us that he was last seen at Pencanog, so a lot of people have complained about this though, because they want to know what they're getting before they bother looking for these wanderers. Now, to me, I've played this game a lot, and to me, it doesn't really matter because the skills are just not powerful enough that taking one over the other is gonna be a big difference to me. I'll just take whoever I can get. If I can get healers, people with medicine, people with the steward, that's great. They are better. Those skills do matter. But in general, it's not something I'm gonna worry about. But that itself is a problem because that should be changed. It should matter more. It should matter more which ones you're getting and what you're doing with them. Right now, they're just like a container you can put troops in for your extra parties. They're another body you can have hold a banner. You know, they're just thing you need for your party. Their skills barely matter. It's better to cover all the skills yourself. It just is. Anyway, and of course, the other situation that people are having a complaint with the so-called Hero Fog of War, is marriage proposals. And this is mostly an issue if you're playing on campaign and you get marriage proposals for your brother. You just have a chance at that time to accept it or not. So if you don't already know the information, or you can't just open the encyclopedia and see who this person is, you don't know what stats they have or if you want them. Now, again, to me, I don't care who the brother marries. I'm going to take whichever one they offer for free first, or whichever one I can get for free, because I know that it's not that critical to the game. It's just better have another body in my clan to use, you know, arm them, use them to lead a party. It doesn't matter. Grandkids, they don't matter. The game is going to be over by then. But for many players, it does matter, and it's one of the only interesting things they can do is try to figure out who gets to join their clan, what kind of, you know, culture the next generation has and stuff like that. They want to do that, so it is important to them. It's just kind of like a jaded played Bannerlord too much thing to be like, well, it doesn't matter. They're all the same. We finished the map in 7 years anyways, who cares? Probably for you, the player, you're gonna meet people and have some idea who you might want to marry without needing to look them up in the encyclopedia, but definitely for the proposals that come in, that is an issue, because the proposal will just disappear if you try to click out and actually go look for this person. So the other thing you can do is just save scum, accept the proposal, go check the person out, and then reload, but that wastes a bunch of your time, both in campaign to do that, and if you're reloading, that's wasting your real life time too, to have to keep doing stuff like that just to get around information being withheld. And now a much more serious issue regarding wanderers that a lot of people are not aware of yet. This problem started in the beta 1.1.0 and has continued into the stable version, and because it was not addressed in the patch for 1.1.1, we'll assume it is still in that version of the game too. So this, as far as I know, is still an ongoing problem. Now what we can see here, we have a dead vassal. A vassal that we made from a wanderer. But what's interesting here, she disappeared in 10,088 at the age of 30. She did not die. She disappeared much in the way that you would have notables who lost too much power disappearing. They're just removed from the game. There's a mechanic now where wanderers will be removed from the game sometimes. They just have like a chance each day of being removed. And what this is supposed to do is just make room for new ones to come into the game. But the problem is it can happen after you've recruited them into your clan. And it can happen after they've been promoted to a clan leader too. Now, I'll say it's not constant. It's not all the time. But over the course of a game, when you're making like 30 clans, 40 clans, as many clans as you can, this is going to happen and it's going to have a negative impact. And it's obviously not something that should be in the game. So you see here, her clan here, this person died in battle, I believe. Oh no, he died of old age. So this is another problem. This isn't new to this version, but too many of the spawned side members for clans, and in fact just too many people in general, wanderers and whatnot, are too old. They're too old and they already start the game with a chance to die of old age, and that's just kind of lame. I think they should be, at least I think, if they're under 40, that's at least a big enough window in the game realistically to get stuff done before they start dying of old age. They shouldn't start at 48 or close to 48 though. That's just irresponsible, I think, for the overall game health. Anyway, so now we're just down to Brand in this clan here, who we've never met, so we don't know his information, even though he is our vassal. Oh well, I don't care that much about that. I do think it's kind of dumb. I think that you should probably be able to have the information for your own vassals, even if they remove the other stuff. All right, so in conclusion, Hero Fog of War, annoying to some players, irrelevant to others, not a worthwhile change to the game, doesn't add anything. Actual Fog of War has not been put into the game. Who knows if it ever would be. That might be a beneficial change, though. That might be interesting, but it's not here yet. Wanderers getting disappeared from the game by the new mechanic to kind of get rid of them after you've recruited them, after you've promoted them into clan leaders. That's bad. That's a serious problem. I don't know if they're addressing it, but it's been a month and a half at this point. They need to start fixing some of this. That's nice they fixed some crashes in the new version, but they need to fix this stuff too. Because if people actually put time into the game to actually play into the long game, they're going to notice these problems. They're going to notice the wanderers dying off or getting lost from the game, as it actually describes it, randomly for no reason. They're going to notice their AI vassals not really holding their weight anymore. You're going to notice whack-a-mole situation being crazy. You know, all these problems need to be addressed. And a lot of them have become worse over version, so that suggests that they have the capability to correct these things. They just need to do it. All right. Have a good night. Hope we get a good hotfix this week.